Wanted to welcome everybody back. I almost did it again. It's unmuted. When you're listening to this, it's really how you hear those voices, and it's not that it's unwanted, which means we don't want you here. So, as one of the co-hosts, I'll get it. Trust me, it comes over time. But I wanted to welcome everybody to the show today. It's just great to have everybody on again. We have an amazing guest today. And the great thing about having a guest is that it brings that extra piece. It just there's always a learning and something you can get from everybody you have on. So of course I've got my amazing guest host, and I'm going to be a little quieter today. So isn't that good? With obviously Sandy Grigsby and Jeff Ross. Sandy, what about today? We ready?
Today, we have the most awesome guest, and I'm super excited. Her name is Shreya Vohora, and she has a very unique talking point. She does everything when it comes to your living spaces and
Interesting.
making them super healthy. So she is someone who is going to give us information that will blow your mind because a lot of the stuff she talks
Mm.
about, no one's talking about it. So it's going to be very exciting. I love hearing what she has to say. And she was on a show that with hundreds of guys, Metal, you guys know about it. And they voted her top 10 speakers of the year, and they have over 200 speakers every year.
Wow.
So I'm super excited to have her
Wow.
here.
Well,
Wow. That
I'm
is so awesome.
I
Jeff,
tell you
any
what,
thoughts before we bring her on?
I'm looking forward to being more productive in 2026. So, operating in a space with less clutter. I think that's going to be a really interesting conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not
Mm.
just
All
less
right,
clutter, it's
Fanta.
everything that makes
Yeah.
your home, your workspace, your environment healthy. She's the master at
Wow.
it.
Well,
I
let's
love it.
let's introduce Shreya to our audience, shall we?
All right, let's do it.
All right, here she comes. Woohoo!
Hello, Shreya Vohora. We're so excited to have you here. Oh, but we can't hear you.
Oh, technical issue.
And that's okay because these are the things that we always work with, right? So she's going to look around and you're going to see down. Go ahead, tech team Jeff El Jefe, help her out.
It looks like everything's connected here, so we can edit this part out. But
Yeah, of course.
sure,
No, I
sure.
like it. This is the fun part. No, this is what the audiences want to see. Everything showing up. This is what, and when you bring on guests, this happens. So, Shreya, you can hear us, correct?
Can you give us a thumbs up?
You
You
can
can
hear.
hear us. That's a
Okay,
bonus.
great. So then down below where you see microphones, see which microphone, you'll see a little button that says Mike, M-I-C, just like my name, but don't ever call me Mike. And when you click on that, does it seem to have your microphone on there?
Yeah, this looks like we've got
It does.
Shaw MV7. That's the
Yeah,
one that
that's
Shaw might think.
I know that microphone because I have the same one sitting over there.
Yeah.
So what you want to do then is go ahead and click on mic and turn it back to your internal for your computer. Oh, here we go. I hear some sound.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, I
Yes.
forgot to mention that
Michael's.
she is British, so she has the lovely British accent.
All
Oh, I
right. Well,
love it.
Michael, you've just been promoted to tech support. Well done.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
So
Well, we
I'm
wanted to
gonna leave trying to use what?
oh, oh, oh.
Oh,
You're cutting in and out a little bit. Try again.
oh, this is weird. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Sure can.
can. Yes, we can. I know. Sandy, we're on with these Commonwealthers. So I wanted to welcome you to the show. It's fantastic. And by the way, the greatest thing about that is it's always good because a lot of people watch the show too to figure out like how to podcast and how to get a message. And what they have to realize is don't be nervous when the guest, the mic goes out or a camera or picture. Stop here. I'm going to make one thing and I'm going to turn it over to Sandy. Stop editing. What people are finding is they want to know, so what do I do? And in life that happens. Things happen. And with that, you could think of it's failure, but failure is feedback, which is a great thing. And then you keep moving forward. So I'm going to turn this over to Sandy.
All right. Well, you guys can probably hear in the background my cat. He's going, which is his very unique meow. But yes, things happen. And we are so glad you're here today, Shreya. For if you don't know who Shreya Vohora is, you should know now and follow her on LinkedIn at Shreya Vohora. And what's amazing about Shreya is she has worked in the luxury design and build space for over a decade. I'm sorry, Shreya, I just aged you. And she is really, really exceptional in this because she builds homes and hotels and living spaces, office spaces, everything for people who want a luxury. Her clients are names that I can't say because of NDAs, but you can use your imagination when you think of the ultimate luxury hotels. Okay. And her clients also are billionaires, millionaires, people who want exceptional design and construction. So what's unique about what she does is she builds spaces that are unique by being completely healthy. So when you think of what most homes are made of, the building materials, the furniture, the sprays, the perfumes, the chemicals, all of that, she eliminates it all and goes back to nature and makes sure that not only do these places look exceptional, but they are also healing. So,
Wow.
Shreya, why don't you give us, I gave the background, but why don't you give us a little bit about how you came to this and why you're so good at it?
Thanks, Sandy. I feel like I need to get you to do that intro all the time for me. You should just come along with me everywhere from now on. Yeah. So my family, and we've been in the design and build world for my family for over 30 plus years, myself around 14 years. And I come from this industry and I come from this background, but I got really unwell a number of years ago and kind of went on that journey, you know, where you sort of just go from bouncing from one doctor to another doctor to another doctor to try and figure out what's happening. And they kind of, none of them can tell you any clear answers. And all they keep on doing is giving you different drugs without actually giving you the solution. And so I would take one thing for another thing and then have another thing, and then wouldn't solve the problem. And then the doctor would be like, oh, because you're not following protocols. And I'd be like, what? I'm here sitting there doing everything. And then I kind of actually, the bit that I realized that I was missing, you know, like I was doing all the supplements and I was doing all the infusions and all the crazy biohacking stuff. And I was eating the healthy diet and I was exercising probably more than I probably should have been doing, all of that stuff. But actually the piece that was missing was fixing my environment, because there was stuff. So I had fundamentally in the end that I realized I had mold, really bad black mold toxicity. And then I also had a hormonal problem. And then I kind of discovered that there's all these things in our space, from where you sleep to what you put on your skin to how you drink water, all of this that actually affects you and affects your hormones. And I was completely flabbergasted, being like, I'm in the industry. How come I don't know about this? And then I went on this journey of asking my peers. So I would talk to the plumbers, I would talk to the electricians, I would talk to other contractors, other designers, and ask the question being like, have you ever really thought about what we're putting in a space as an industry expert and the impact it might be having on our clients' health, especially because we deal in residential, right, which are homes, and you've got kids and you've got all this stuff. And nobody could give me an answer. And so it was like, suddenly it just felt like, oh, so it's sort of, in a way I can think back now and say, you know what, those 5 years of horrible health journeys and bouncing around, I think about it actually with a bit of gratitude, because I realized that there was this missing piece that I can now go out and help other people. So my frustration aside, I'm quite happy that I went through it to learn something and discover something that I think not many people talk about.
Yeah, and I think what's also interesting is because you've been in this space and you have lived it and experienced it, you also held yourself accountable for creating and causing this,
Yes.
right? I know you once told me that you take credit in being one of the curators of disaster for people's health because you've been in this business for so long. But now that you've recognized it, you start to pivot. So can you give us a little bit of insight into some things that people ask for that you know is horrible for them and how you convince them to switch? For example, Faraday cages.
Okay. So Faraday cages, I think if you're into, so we've got we've got some clients who are very much into health. And I think one of the few ones, right, is people are becoming a bit more aware around EMF, which is electromagnetic radiation. And so one of the standard things out there at the moment is put a Faraday cage in and you block it all. And I think this is the problem where you can take something that out of context and reality, right? And so yes, in principle, putting a Faraday cage is amazing and great. And I would love to do one. But in reality, there's a discipline aspect that we completely miss and nobody really talks about. So, you know, you have all these guys on Instagram and all these guys being like, Faraday cages and all great, amazing. But actually, this is a problem. So I had to sit down with my client. I actually had to get his wife in as well, because I was like, I feel like the two of you need to understand this together, because what you say versus what she says and the practicalities of this going on in the future is very different. So the problem with the Faraday cage is it's going to break. As soon as you open a window or as soon as you open the door, you're going to break the Faraday cage, which means if you've got your phone on you or something in there, it's going to get signal, but it's going to work 1,000 times harder to get that signal. So it's like you're basically sitting there and you're just getting this ping pong that is occurring. So it's actually worse for your health than if you didn't have it. So what I kind of said is, let's think about it. You don't have children yet, but you're going to have children at some point. Realistically, you're going to want to have your phone in your room to deal with emergencies when your teenagers are out or when you've got a sick child or you're going to open a window. Do you have the discipline of saying not to use your phone? And I was like, and so that was the question. And fundamentally, it was like, no. So I said, so my thing here is, what else can we do? Yes, the Faraday case is the 100% extreme, but because if you can't do that in the reality of the way people live their lives, it's actually going to be worse for you than if we actually did something that might reduce stuff down by like 50%. And so that's kind of the decision make that I had to take them through on this process of, yes, in reality, this might feel glorious and amazing, but it's actually worse for you because you can't really put it into lifestyle. And I think that's the thing that I really try and take is, I think there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of stuff that you can do, but I'm always about actually what moves the needle the most and what is practical in someone's life.
Yeah, that's a big thing around that practicality. Like our family's just gone through a major shift in our environment at home. You know, my eldest son, you know, at the age of 11, got diagnosed with pediatric MS. And, you know, so like our whole world shifted then on the
Yeah.
spot, you know, that conversation. He had to learn how to re-walk, you know, how to, you know, go from a wheelchair to a walker to learning how to re-walk. And that basically that pivotal moment, like you mentioned about your health journey, how it changed and transformed to where you are now, we've learned to be grateful for that as well because of the impact that that forced intentionality on that growth around that conversation for us to now focus in on, you know, topics like this. But you know, the health and wellness topic. But I've got to be honest, yeah, environment is one thing that I haven't even thought to explore. So, you know, it's fascinating when we talk about wellness, we talk about, you know, getting our mindfulness right. We talk about getting our physical journey right, our emotional journey right. But none of us really touch base on this whole environment space. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and that's why I love that Shreya's here, because she shed a lot of light on this for me, because
Yeah.
we live in Thailand, and the first time we moved here, we didn't know where we were going to live, where to stay. We didn't know anything. So we just rented the coolest looking apartment that we could find that worked in our budget. And I wish I had known Shreya before I lived there,
Mm.
because I definitely wouldn't have lived there knowing what I know now. For example, the apartment that we moved into was gorgeous. It looked like some sort of penthouse from New York. When people see it, they're like, "Oh my God, it's beautiful."
Out
But
of the movies, right?
it had been
Yeah.
vacant for over 3 years.
Mm.
I didn't know that that's a hazard because of the mold that grows between.
Fascinating. So, how important it to, you know, for our energy levels? You know, this conversation I think is probably has a lot of impact to it. But I'd love to glean in on your wisdom, Straya. You know, as entrepreneurs, you know, we're go go go, and we're, you know, got our fingers in a lot of different pies, and we're building out a lot of different things sometimes, especially from working from home. In that environment, how important is having our family environment, our home environment, and our work environment, you know, working for us, you know, in that space? How important is that for our energy levels?
Very important. I think that's fundamentally actually one of the reasons why I do what I do is, and um, ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm an entrepreneur as well, right? So making sure that I have the most incredible energy levels and being able to work at my optimum is fundamental to me.
Mm.
And I think there's a little bit like when you hack it, everything just flows and it's really easy, and then you can get into flow state, and then you suddenly realize that, oh wow, I've been pushing like a block up a hill without even realizing it. um,
Yeah.
But I
You
think
guys won't believe it. Chrome crashed on me. It wasn't even internet. It was Chrome. Chrome
Man.
goes, you can't talk about this right now. I'm Google. We're going to X-nay you on the talking A.
It's listening, So we were just talking about, I just jumped in there while you bounced off, but now you bounce back. And we're just talking about how important our environment is, for our energy levels and making sure that we've got, a space to help us to, keep operating at that peak performance space.
Yeah, exactly. And let me wrap up what I was saying, guys. So when I moved into the new place, I used the information that Shreya gave us, and we had to get all new furniture, everything. And it's so much easier to shop for furniture when you follow her guidelines. So we looked for people that could make natural sofas and natural furniture for us. The wood, whatever it was, it looks so much nicer. It's to my taste. People now come in and just say the energy has shifted. The place is beautiful. It feels good. Everyone goes, oh. As a matter of fact, my husband's son, he's 24. He brought a girlfriend over and she was mad because she said our house is much nicer than hers. So he's not allowed to come to her house anymore. And that's all thanks to Shreya.
Yay, I'm so excited.
That's beautiful.
Ah.
Hey, and Michael, I've got a quick
Yeah.
question for you. Do you know what, feng shui is? Because I got no idea. Do you have any idea?
I do, and we'll let them talk about that much more than I will. But I did, I did have. You got to do some research, buddy. I grew up in California, so the other thing too is, Shreya, there's a limitation because as you work with hotels and other chains, there's a lot of us who travel a lot. And so we have limitations of what they'll do and what they can do in the hotels we're in. But if we go into that environment, what are some things, again, that we can do to affect what's around us?
Good question.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things. You can be a crazy person like me who carries a lot of stuff with her. So I have a separate suitcase. I am not high maintenance for anything other than when I travel and how I travel with what I
Okay.
But most other things, I think there's a few simple things that we can do, which is one of the first things I think is actually open a window. People really
Mm.
underestimate the value of getting in fresh air. Now, there's caveats to this because if you're in somewhere like Mumbai, which in the middle of the day during high peak traffic hours, huge amount of pollution. So you got to time it right and you got to think about it carefully. But our indoor environment has so many what I call, we basically live in this like hidden soup of chemicals that we don't even realize that really affect the indoor air quality. That actually affects and there's so many studies that have linked it, but you'll notice it affects brain fog, different things like that. And most modern buildings are built these days to be completely sealed boxes. And so what's
Yes.
happening is they're not getting the natural ventilation that we traditionally used to get. So our buildings are not breathing, which means everything is just stuck in there. So you're basically sitting in stale air. And if you're using an AC, all you're doing is just recirculating that rather than getting in. So even if you open up a window like 10 minutes and then 10 minutes, it completely will change it. It'll change the air quality in the space. You will feel better as well. You'll probably feel sharper. There's loads of different studies on things like that what I could get into, but I think that's one of the easiest things that people forget. And I think the other one as well, going back to your comment earlier on, Jeff, around energy, which is most hotels have terrible lighting. And
Yeah,
and
I noticed that.
I think I was listening to a podcast the other day with a doctor who's a doctor in light in UCL, and I actually fundamentally think we're going to see this more into 2026, which is I think people are now starting to become aware that the cost-saving LED lights are a little bit like ultra-processed food for a home. They're terrible for our system, from everything they do to the disrupting melatonin to actually them affecting um our metabolic systems as well. So people are actually having insulin resistance and stuff, and they're connecting that a lot of it to the lighting spectrum. So for me, in a hotel, one of the easiest things you can do is most hotels will have a lamp. You will always have a lamp. So at that night, just turn all your other lights off and just put the lamp on.
Yeah,
You know,
interesting.
yeah.
So when you talk about lighting in an environment in that space, how does sound play a role?
Sound plays a role, particularly when it comes to disruption, right? So I think how sensory disruptions and noises that we don't deal with. So sound, it obviously can become a hidden stressor because our body and our brain is kind of trying to get rid of it so it can help us focus on whatever we're trying to do. So some people are a lot more sensitive to sound. Some people are less sensitive to sound. So how you manage that. But ultimately, particularly in your bedroom, I think our bedrooms are one of those places where we really need to create them as recovery chambers, especially for us that are
Oh, I love
entrepreneurs.
that word.
Yeah.
Recovery chambers. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because we're entrepreneurs, we're busy. We need to be able to like be at our like top every morning, right? To do that, you need to be able to get the best sleep. And I find this really, and I continuously have this debate with many people who like do all the biohacking stuff and then they'll like have the gadgets and they track their sleep. And I do that as well. Like I love my data. I'm a wearable person, but I'm like, okay, you've got all of this, but then like you're doing all the supplements to go to sleep, but have you actually ever really thought about your bedroom space? Like, is it really a recovery chamber or your sanctuary where you can kind of switch off or not? And I think that's why, for me, things like sound, things like lighting, the kinds of the materials you use in your bedroom are so important. So we're literally trying to bring our body's baseline stress level down to 0 so it can really recover. So it's not
Wow.
having to deal with the hum of everything else while it's trying to sleep, while you're trying to do everything else. You know, while you're recovering, it's otherwise there's this like soft hum of all the other stresses that your body's trying to deal with. And so what you're trying to basically say is, nope, we've gone down to 0. So now I can deal with all the other stuff that you need to deal with and recover and boost. You wake up in the morning with the best amount of energy.
You know,
I don't want to.
it's
There you
so
go.
true. In the bedding situation, when I go and stay at a hotel or something, or an Airbnb where you can feel like the plastic sheets, it's just not cotton because we use cotton and linen. For me, what gets me now, besides just the plastic, is the smell of laundry detergent.
Yeah.
It is
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
bad because our laundry detergent's organic, natural, unscented, like normal stuff. That makes me sick. And finally, my husband's son, because he's been living in our space now, he goes, "Oh my God, I can't sleep. The sheet smells so gross. It's keeping me awake."
Ah,
That's funny.
makes
I
me
Yeah,
find
so
this
you know,
whole
it's funny.
conversation fascinating.
Yeah. It's funny when you walk into a hotel, right? We are sort of so programmed if we don't smell that chlorine smell, right? Or if we don't, it's like, did they really wash? Are they really clean? And I think that environment is really important because I've been doing this. So, we sleep almost pretty much everything is bamboo
yeah.
because so the sheets are bamboo and that for us has made a big difference. And years ago, and I still have a lot of also far infrared covers and that's really made a big difference that sit on top of the bamboo. It's huge, but I like noise. I like a jet engine fan in the room and I sleep so well. Um, and I know it's not the best. I get that, but it's my adaptive because I wake pretty easily and
I,
it keeps that. Go ahead. I
I
can
was
see you got a suggestion. You got something coming up. Go
I
ahead.
was actually going to say, I think it's fine. I actually like to listen to sleep binaural beats sometimes when I go to sleep, particularly if I've had a lot on my brain, because by
Right.
having a sound, it allows my mind to focus on that versus on anything else. So I think that some people do really well with like white noise machines and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I think they're great. My caveat to those is make sure they're as far away because of the radiation coming up from your head as
Mm.
possible. So put them
Well,
on the other side of the room.
that's going to be my next question. So, like, we talked about EMFs to start with. So, when it comes to our recovery chamber, our bedroom, like, no charging phones, none of that in the bedroom. Like, you have that outside in the lounge room space or in the kitchen somewhere out away, right?
So this again is where I'm going to say that what works for your body and what
Yeah,
works for
yeah.
your lifestyle. So the rule of the thumb is simplest is distance is king. So,
Mm.
the further away you can put it, the better it is. If you can put your phone outside, great. If you can't, not. I mean, my grandma's been really unwell recently, so I haven't been able to keep it outside because she'd been alone. So I've kept it near, but it's completely on the other side of the room and it's like as far away, but it's on loud so I can hear it still if it
It's
goes off.
practical. Yeah, it's
It's
practical.
practical.
Mm.
Um, the things you want to try and reduce, right, is you don't want a Wi-Fi router in your room. Like it's actually like, what are the things that try and reduce the amount of stuff you have next to your head that's cabled in? Like what can you reduce out? If you've got, for example, make sure you're not sleeping opposite a smart meter, or things like that, or move it. So those are the things that you can avoid and you can make a choice about and figure out. But a phone, ideally, yes, outside, but I think it's how do you be practical with it? And that's kind of my
Yeah.
motto. Because I also think we have to understand the realities of the world that we live in today,
Mm.
and how it works, but reduce the amount of stuff. And I mean, there's simple things that you can do as well. So you can get, if you're doing a construction on a place, great. The first thing, one of the key things that we do, whether a client wants a healthy home or not, is we will never put cables up, above, behind, or below someone's bed.
Mm-hmm.
And
Interesting.
we'll keep them distance away because there's a lot of radiation that comes off them unless we put them in conduits that are shielded and all this kind of stuff. And you can try and do kill switches in a room, which basically means you kill the power coming into the space. Now, obviously, you can only do that if you're refurbishing a building and you've got the budget. But if
Mm.
you don't, for example, a lot of people have TVs and they have all these other stuff in their rooms, which ideally I'd like to say again, remove if you can. But if you can't, you can get these things off Amazon and they're like $5, which is affordable to pretty much most people. What it allows you to do, it plugs it in and you can put it either on a timer or you can put it on a remote, which means if you have anything in your room that you've got plugged in, you can either just turn them off. And what it does is that kills the power because what people don't realize is just because your TV's not on, if your TV's plugged into the wall, it's still circulating. So you still got that buzz. So these are like little quick things you can do to reduce it without compromising on the things that you want in your life.
It's interesting how you said you've got the buzz. I notice now certain things when they're plugged in, if it's dead silent and you really pay attention, you can hear it, right? Or for example, we have a new cappuccino maker that we love. And I know that the plug outlet that it's in is not grounded because when I put my hand on it to get you have to you got to put the little coffee thing in, you got to turn it, right? And when I turn it, I put my hand on the machine to really crank it. I can feel the vibration. So it freaks me out now because I'm like, oh, all that electricity. Or here in Thailand, when our computers are plugged in and you're working, if I put my hand on it, sometimes it gives me a little zap through my body. So I absolutely try to never work on my computer when it's actually plugged into the power source.
No
But
one
yeah,
should
you
do
can
that.
feel it. You can feel the electricity. And when you know.
Yeah.
Were you saying that you shouldn't use your computer when it's plugged in? I mean, because like in the US, we have indirect current, like in the UK, and they have direct current. Do you find a difference with that?
Yeah, I don't notice it in the US. I notice it here.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean that you're still not getting that electricity through your system. So I
If
have one of those little, I don't know what they're called, those little circle things that you stick on the bottom of your device. It's supposed to help absorb the
Yeah.
EMF. I have one of
Ground it a
those, and
bit.
then
Yeah.
I work mostly with my computer unplugged. I'll use it till the battery is drained, and then I'll plug it in, walk away, go do something, and come back. So
ideally, that if again, try not to have things plugged in, try not to use your phone because there's a lot more radiation that comes off it, right? The different forms of it. If I was to, I don't have it on me right now or near to me right now, but if you could see it like on a reader. If you look at if you look at the reader and you can go, and then you turn, and then you like have it unplugged and it goes down. So this is the problem when I have all this stuff. I'm like, oh no, now I know.
it's like, what's in Shreya's toolkit today? Moisture
Right.
meter, EMF reader.
That's right.
It sounds
You
like
would-
the
yeah.
toolkit of Ghostbusters, got all
Yeah.
the
That's right.
gadgets.
Yeah, you'd be fun to travel with. This would be fun. There'd be buzzing and we'd be testing. The other thing too, you're right, because as we, buildings that are not done by you, right? Because of computers and phones and everything, now when you walk into hotel rooms, the newer hotel rooms, let alone you cannot open the windows. There's more electrical because that's what people asked for. They wanted more plugs, more places to plug in. A lot of hotels have the rechargeable just units sitting there. I mean, it's gone way the other way.
Yeah, it's
And the lighting.
and the light. It's a
And the
continuous.
lighting.
It's
And
a
the
continuous.
laminate, everything's done cheaply now. It's all laminate, plastic. Even the carpets are plastic. And we don't realize it because you're like, oh, it looks nice until you're in it. And all of that is off-gassing.
Yeah, I've definitely learned a lot about as I've done more hotels and you work in the back and but I think it's definitely a debate and an argument that I've had, and I think there is awareness that's now happening. So you'll start to see
Okay.
that there are particularly in the US actually. So for example, the Four Seasons in LA, and I think there are a couple of other big chains and stuff, right? You can ask for low frequency rooms. You can ask for things like that. Most hotels, by the way, unless you're in a developing country, people don't know this, but I'm a very annoying hotel guest. So if I smell mold, or if the window's not there, or if there's things,
I'm out
I
too.
will ask for the room to be changed, and I know, and then I'll do it nicely because I'm like, I know I'm high maintenance, but I'm a really nice person.
Shreya, I once asked 3 room changes, and then the second room, they were like, "Whoa, we gotta fix it so she doesn't notice any problems." So they sprayed it with perfume, and then I had to get another room change.
Okay, so I've never asked for 4 room changes. Okay, so I'm not that bad. But most hotel chains, although their windows, they by law they have to have some rooms with windows openable. So you can ask that question.
Oh, I
But
didn't
most,
know that.
Oh,
There you go.
didn't
yeah,
know that.
yeah.
Didn't.
There you go.
And
So they will
go
have
ahead.
they have to have some rooms in which you could, yeah. So it's like a thing. Anyone in my family, we have like a whole thing. Like my mum's the same. She's like, I need a room with the window open because I like to sleep with fresh air.
Oh,
Wow.
I love it. You know,
Oh,
and
that's a
there
Things you
is
don't
very
think you'd
because
have to ask
Tyler
for.
summer.
yeah. Yeah, and some people too, you're right, because, if you live in colder environments, you're going to leave the windows closed. There's that tendency, especially like all winter long. There's, and it does. I mean, we have air fresheners and, we have air cleaners. And so there's this whole industry built around something that we're creating on our own.
Yeah, the sad thing actually is studies have shown this right now during Christmas period, but particularly in the northern hemisphere, right when it's cold. So the air quality indoors like gets worse by like 20%, which is really
Yeah,
sad
wow.
because what you've got is you've got closed environments heating on
Recycled. Mm.
recycled continuous air, and at the same time everybody's got all their Christmas decorations up and all the things which come with a lot of, and most Christmas decorations are covered are microplastics, PVBs. They have volatile organic gases, they have they're made with flame retardants, they're made with this a lot of stuff that can be thyroid. So the key first thing I'm like, honestly, even if you just did 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening, it'll just change things. And if you could throw efforts,
Wow.
but people don't
Wow.
realize
No,
actually you can look at the studies, right? Suddenly during December, things get like spike upwards.
Oof, that's crazy. Well, the good thing here in Thailand is this time of year, it's actually the coolest. So we can open our windows. We leave them open all day, all night. It's amazing. The rest of the year, too hot, too humid.
Yeah.
yeah, as long as you got screens, because I don't like bugs. Anyways, so it's there's places that I don't open the windows if there's not
No,
screens.
no, you need to get the
Um,
mosquito net. Maybe I need to start traveling with a mosquito net when I go to certain places.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I like that. No, you're great. We could travel. I'd be all over this. So, it's been great to have you on the show today. Any last questions, Sandy? And also anything, sure, you'd like to just tell our audience? Because, people are going to be thinking about this. And sometimes what they don't realize is look at the people around you and who's not doing as well as they could, or even those moments of fog that you're getting much earlier than you should now. It's
Mm.
really about them, not about you. But Sandy, any last questions?
Yes. Shreya, could you just give us a simple list of 10 things that someone could
Mm.
fix right away in their home that makes their home healthier?
Right, where's my notepad?
Okay. I'm going to keep them simple. So I've said this a few times, but I'm going to say it again because I think it's so important. Open your windows.
Mhm.
Open your windows. Um, Invest if you can. The one thing that I'd say, one of the few things that I think are very important that everyone should invest in is a good water purifier, clean filter for your drinking water. And if you can afford to get one on, even if you can't do a whole house system, if you can do it on your shower and your bath, because people don't realize actually the amount of our skin absorbs. And so it really makes a difference. I'm trying to think. I'd say do an audit of your bedroom and this will come with it, do of a bedroom and your children's bedrooms or any key places where you guys spend a huge amount of time, and really look at, okay, what am I sitting on? What am I lying on? What am I sleeping? Like, what is it made of? What is the quality of the lighting and what's beside me? So like, is there any kind of electrical stuff? If there's this, and from those, what can I remove and not? And I think, I know this also can become quite overwhelming because suddenly it's like you look across your house, you're like, oh my God, I need to throw everything out. And I don't think that's the case either. Right. So I think it's more about, okay, next time I buy bed linen, or can I swap my bed linen now, or can I ask for that maybe as a Christmas gift, or can I opt for it? What is my mattress? What's my pillow? What can I, as I said, can I move the cables away from me? If I can't change the LED, short wavelength spectrum lights, can I turn them off in the evening and just use like a lamp instead? That's something better. Like there's little swaps that we can do like that. And I think the things for me to where to focus really is let's focus on the bedroom, because as I said, it's the recovery chamber. So our bedroom, perhaps our office, and where our children study, because those are two areas where we spend the most amount of time. And so if you can do that adjustment and with all those different things, I think it makes such a big difference.
Okay, I'm going to add some that you didn't mention because I know you so well now.
Yeah.
She came to my house and she re-audited everything, and I do everything that you say. Okay. One is
Good.
natural cleaning
Yeah.
supplies.
Yeah, that was my
Right.
other one as well. That one's an easy one for everyone to do. And you know what? You don't need to buy the expensive stuff, because I think everyone goes into the shops and then goes like, oh, okay. Actually, the problem is a lot of the as soon as they use the word eco-friendly, a lot of the times actually if you turn the back around and read the ingredients, which unfortunately I'm that person that spends ages in a shopping store reading the ingredients of everything, it's actually worse for you. Just get vinegar, just get water, vinegar,
Get back
soda.
to basics.
Like,
Yeah.
like super basics. Like I think we
Yeah.
complicate things so much. I don't know why.
Mhm.
Going back when I think you said earlier on this whole thing of like if you don't smell chlorine, you don't think it's clean. I don't know why
Yeah.
we have suddenly equated clean with a scent. Clean really shouldn't have a scent. Like
Yes, it's true. Okay, I'm going to give another one. Go for natural, real materials that your grandparents would have used. So cotton, wool, hemp products. Maybe they wouldn't have used that, but that's the cool new thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Even the bamboo, anything that's natural, real wood,
yeah.
real materials. So that would be another one.
Especially in the kitchen. So if you think about what are
Yeah.
you cutting, you're cutting it because I don't think we really think about. I find this really amusing. And this is the kind of the little things where I think there's like a contradiction in the wellness industry. You'll have someone who'll spend so much money on organic food, but then cut it on a plastic cut chopping board. So as
Oh,
you're
yeah.
cutting it, you're cutting in the plastic into that. And I'm like, and then cook it on a Teflon pan. And I'm like, you shouldn't have bothered with the $20 tomatoes. Like,
Yeah. The stainless
That's it.
steel is all you need, and most people don't know how to cook it. It sticks. No, it doesn't actually stick if you use it correctly. And here's a secret for everyone. Heat your stainless steel up until when you put water on it, it beads up like little balls and they don't evaporate right away. Then it's ready for cooking. Just a tip.
It's fascinating. Just to quickly, I know we're running out of time, but I just read a test the other day that 100% of the men that were tested, 100% of them all had some sort of microplastics in their system.
Yeah.
100%, not just 99, 100%. Yeah, it's interesting.
Everyone does. The sad thing is, it makes me really sad, which is babies are being born with it. So the placenta
Mm.
has microplastics in it. We're finding before
That's
babies
right.
are born, it's in their brain. And that's quite heartbreaking when you think about it, right? They're meant to be safe in the cocoon of a mum. And so
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. What is
No, it's
plastic brain going to do to our kids in the future?
I know.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on today. This has been great because what it is the start, right? It's the start of it's their health and their energy, and it is about the family and the kids, and I think that's really important. So thank you so much for being on. Thank you for our regular guests, our regular co-hosts, Sandy and Jeff. It's great to be here. It's great to have everybody on. If you're listening to this show and you really like what you hear, there's a couple things. You could hear it on YouTube. So, of course, you can subscribe to the channel and really be part of it. You might be hearing it on all the channels. It's downloading for you, but it's great also if you share this with other people, because if you learn something today, then you can share it with other people and have other people share it. And that's how we become a healthier world. And we take lessons like this and we learn so much every single day. So thank you all for being on. I give you a thunderous round of applause because you said so many things that were so critical. And I look at my own family thinking, what are we doing? Let's just
Mm.
rethink it, right? One change at a time makes a difference. So awesome, everybody. I can't tell you how much this show actually meant, more than you have any idea. And thank you all for being on tonight. Thank you for listening. We'll be on next week. You'll hear us every week. There's always a new guest. There's always a new show. And at Unmuted, boom, we have a great time every day. There we go. All
We
right.
sure
Bye,
do.
Good
everybody.
job, Michael.
Right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.